Hello, good morning, and welcome. Let me put my headphone wires behind my beard. Good morning, and welcome to More Joy, ultimately, but this is Be Encouraged here on More Joy Radio, More Joy Video, More Joy Media. And we are excited today. We are going to have a beautiful day. We've had cloudy days, a couple of days of clouds, but not bad weather, just cloudy. And today, as you can see behind me, is sunny outside, and really excited about being able to enjoy the day, at least the ride over to the studio. I'm in my home right now, and we're waiting here patiently. Don't have to wait long because there he is, and he looks like he's enjoying the sunshine as well. Yes, he is. Hey,
Hey,
buddy,
hey,
how you doing?
how are you?
I'm good. This is a new location for you. Where are you at?
I am sitting at home.
Cool, cool. Looks like you got some nice sunshine coming in. Looks good.
Yeah, not too bad. It's a
That's good.
sort of overcast day,
Yeah, yeah,
not too shabby. Nice
right.
nice lighting above my head.
I was just watching the Get Up guys on ESPN talking about Baker. Oh,
Hmm.
out there in your neck of the woods there, the Baker Mayfield man. I like him.
Yeah, he
He's
did
a
pretty
nice
well
kid.
the other day.
He did. He made some mistakes, and that's what they were talking about. Is he consistent
Yeah,
enough? Rah, rah, rah. So, but that's okay. He did really. I think he played really well. Put a little bit of a scare into Kansas City.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
How are you today, my good friend?
Doing well. Getting ready for the big day. Charlotte's getting married Saturday.
Oh, that's right. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, that's awesome. Are you excited about this,
Oh
Daniel?
yeah. I can't wait. I can't wait.
Who's marrying her?
I am.
You're gonna marry him. Okay,
Yeah,
good,
I'll walk her
good.
down the aisle. Bill Burke is gonna start the ceremony, and I'll walk her down the aisle, and then I'll swap places with him when he asks who gives this woman to be married to this man, and I'll jump in there and say, "Ba-da!"
Me, I do.
Yeah, yeah,
It's me. Well, kind of. As long as this guy freaking agrees to certain. Yeah. No,
yeah.
you're not that kind of dad. You know,
Oh,
your
I'll give it
daughter.
to you. I'm ready at the sermon time to say. Now, normally I preach this sermon to the whole crowd because it encourages weddings, and sometimes I ask people just to listen in because this is really for the two of you. But today I'm just preaching at you, Bally.
Right, exactly. And that's also when you pull back your robe and show that you carry a gun.
Yeah, I got a sawed-off shotgun in my.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah. Anyway, no, that's good. Well, I'm excited for her. She's a lovely young lady, and she's going to have. She's going to be good. It'll be good. It'll be
It's going to be
she'll
great.
be good. Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
He's a great guy. He's a
Oh, I'm
physical
glad.
therapist down there for Centera Hospital in Elizabeth City, and they're going to have a great life ahead of them. So
That's awesome. I'm very happy for him. So what do you do to prepare yourself for? You still have one in the fold, but you're getting your eldest because Lily. I'm not Lily. Charlotte's your oldest, right?
yep, yep,
Yeah, and you've already got your boy sent off with someone to take care of him.
yep.
Now you're sending your daughter off to either take care of or be taken care of or both. And now you just have your wonderful, super talented, awesome Lily is still kind of doing her thing and then happy. I think so. It
She's
looks
having
like she's
fun and
happy.
very happy. Yep, yep,
Yeah,
yep.
that's awesome. Let's talk about that a little bit. What's the I know that there's a lot of people that are still pigeonholing gender gender specifics, or what is the word, roles, gender roles, and they've changed quite a bit, and I think I would like to think that's a good and great thing. I haven't had any, I guess I can't really put you on the spot like that because Because no matter what you say, sometimes you're gonna ruffle somebody's feathers, and you kind of got to stay in a neutral position in many ways.
I'm
But
good at ruffling feathers, so
I know
it's
you
all
are.
right.
I know you are. What is your take on gender roles from a
I
biblical
think
position?
obviously we're confused culturally. I think what we assume is that whether you're feminine or masculine, that is a greater description of how you're supposed to operate, and I think that we're given the world a sense that they can make some choices before they've even understood what it is to fully engage in life. So, first of all, I think brain development has proven that you don't really come to an age of consequential understanding until you're 25, and I think that's been proved out pretty well throughout history.
Yes.
So I think it's a tragedy that that those things are being assigned or being confused in elementary school. It baffles me. So I am without fail going to push against. That's something that a family ought to be speaking to. It's not something that the government or the local school district ought to be reading books or encouraging or doing any of that kind of stuff. Kids explore naturally, and I think I had a neighbor who had boys, and the boys were not going to be gender identified too early because the parents decided they wanted so hard to let their boys make their own choices and that kind of stuff. So they got Barbie dolls for Christmas one year, and because they were fascinated with them. Well, who's not fascinated with Barbie? One way or the other.
Yeah, my Barbie and G.I. Joe had some fun together.
Yeah. But the second those things were out of the wrapping, they tore their clothes off, bent them over in the shape of a gun, and started playing toy guns with each other.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm not sure that that's a universal description of how things happen, but I will say, I just think the world is very confused on these issues, and I think we're digging a bigger hole for ourselves these days, and it's hard. It's it's very, very hard. I have students. I've known students. I am, in counseling with folks that have children who have decided that they are not what they were born with. And my counsel there is the same counsel I give to anybody who is dealing with a child who it has nothing to do with sexual identity or gender roles.
Right.
The whole thing has to come with how do they see themselves in the face of God.
Yeah.
And that's where I sound like, to some people, some of my
evangelical
friends, I sound like a flaming liberal, and to some of my liberal friends, I sound too conservative for them. But
right.
I think those things get transformed once you get yourself in the hands of God. Otherwise,
right.
Those boundaries that we set, and we think, oh, these people don't look like us, they don't act like us, they don't. Of course they don't, because they're connected to the world. They're not connected to the Lord. And even at that place, you got to start somewhere. So if you expect them to be, exactly what the Christian world, the church world wants them to be, they'll never get there because they're rejected already.
Right.
So it's a tough question. You got questions flying in?
I got somebody calling, but I don't know that he wants to come on or not. Hey, I'm doing my show, my friend. You want to come on?
What are you doing?
I'm doing my Be Encouraged show.
Oh, okay. No, not today.
Okay. I'll call you back.
You got it.
Thank you, buddy. That's my good buddy, Billy Riley. He just got finished with the real battle with cancer and beat it. So God bless him. That's awesome. Dan, this is a tough one. My whole opinion is why why do they even know there's an option? Why do
Yeah.
kids even know there's an option at that age? That's what's crazy to me. I grew up, especially when I was a kid, girls had cooties, until I got to junior high, and then no, they didn't, or I wanted them. um, but but until then, that's 12, 13 years where I didn't think about that kind of. Occasionally, something came up where, all the guys are out in the room and out in the woods after playing soccer. We're all out there doing our thing, and it's like, why do they all look different? That kind of thing. I mean, these things happen as you go along, and you don't always have the answers, but you know that it's gonna, you'll figure it out at some point. But what the sexual I don't know how to say this. The kids now are thinking sexually at a much younger age, and it's like not necessarily participating per se, but they're thinking about the difference in genders, and they're thinking about why, why does that person have this and that person doesn't have that, and it's so confusing. Whereas we didn't even think about that.
We weren't allowed to talk about it. That was private conversation. That was and it should still be. I mean, I think that intimacy on whatever level. I mean, I am firmly in the camp of, it is mine to speak about what the biblical standards are, but it's not mine to judge. And so, those conversations now are so blatantly in your face.
They are.
Why? There's a show on TV, on TLC right now that is called I Am Jazz. And it's all about a gender reassignment in a young guy who's become a beautiful woman. I mean, it's clear this is a poster child's opportunity for normalizing this, but I just don't think it's normalized. And I think that's part of what the culture is struggling with is we don't want to discriminate against anybody. And I agree that there shouldn't be hate. There shouldn't be discrimination. And so the pendulum has swung so far to say we're not going to discriminate against anybody, so we are going to embrace it. And that's a portion of the culture that's under 10%. Conservative estimates would say under 4%, but most would like to say it's at least 10%.
But in the media, it's 80, 90%.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. And I don't want to scream, this is so unfair. I was like, okay, what can we do about this? Let's break the culture of shame, but at the same time, bring it back into the parameters of this is something that needs to be decided later in life. This is something that doesn't need to be discussed. This is almost, to me, this is almost as violating as some people feel that bringing religion into school is. You're bringing in an option for gender assignment into my children's elementary school years, and it baffles me. It really, really does. And I know people make choices, and I know that there's some confusion, and I certainly know that there's some physical anomalies where there are people who are born with both parts and they have to make a decision for health reasons.
So rare, though.
It is so very rare.
And you make it sound, it makes people think that that's something that happens a lot.
That's common, right?
Just like, and I don't want to, but just like, well, it depends. I'm not going to say that. I was talking about abortion, and people talk about, there should be. What about rape and incest? Well, guess what? That's where I think we need to come halfway. If there's a proven rape or incest, then it's, but that's not still what I believe. I still believe you should let it just take its course, and adoption is available and all those different things. I still believe that wholeheartedly. However, somewhere somebody needs to come to the middle. And that's the same issue with what we're talking about as far as gender reassignment and all those kind of things. More information needs to be out there about that and about how people who undergo that have so many regrets. They're stuck in a lifestyle that they thought they wanted, and now they're stuck in it. The same with homosexuality. That's another one that's hard to deal with, and I love everybody. There's no, and in that issue, that's your choice. You have free will. And if that's something you choose to do, and that's where I get myself in trouble, because people say it's not a choice. And I'm like, well, everything we do in life is a choice. So
Right.
Everything, that's how it was set up. That's how God set it up. He gave us all the ability to choose. And this is where I was kind of getting to, Dan. That's where I think the spiritual warfare comes into play, because it's not just God in this realm.
Yeah.
In fact, we know that there's an evil component called Satan, and
Sure.
he would love to get his little minions in there and being divisive as best that he can. And I would say that his favorite thing is what God gave us, a blessing to be and have free will.
Yeah.
And you don't see birds attacking each other and all those kind of things, because they don't have a choice. They're given instinctual blueprints on how to handle and how to act and how to do what they do. But we were not human beings were not given that. They were given free will to make a choice, because God wants them to make the choice to love him and worship him and be with him.
I agree.
So I know you do. And I know we're on the same page, my friend. And I think the only thing to say is that you just have to speak. You have to speak Jesus into it. I mean, and that's what I try to do.
And the beautiful thing is Jesus comes alongside of that and, knows the confusion, knows all of the stuff that's going on culturally that makes us, make stupid choices. And yes, I said that out loud. I think that those choices away from what you were born with, body orientation wise, if you were born with certain parts, you ought to stay with certain parts. And that may seem narrow and negative, but I think that's the way God made us. And yet I think our faith, our world is big enough to be able to express ourselves incredibly in ways that may not look like your typical all-American male.
Correct.
There's
nothing right.
You don't have to grunt and groan and lift weights and do whatever. Drink beer and watch football to be a red-blooded American. I think of so many people who are heroes right now, who are nurses or who are artists or who are and they would rate high on the effeminate scale if that's if you're looking at that as a measure. But to quickly make the jump, I have a friend who, when I had the conversation with him and told me he was coming out of the closet, he disregarded all of the behavioral and environmental things that sort of pointed him in this direction, and I just sat down and I said, listen, I think you've made a choice. Well, this isn't a choice. I said, well, how did you make this choice? How did you know? You had to discover that you were thinking somehow differently from where you were in your marriage, because it dissolved a marriage. And he said, well, I went out to bars. And, he told me about a series of one night stands. And I just thought, gosh, when do you stop looking over your shoulder for another exploitive relationship that seems titillating at the beginning and comes crashing to a close because it's just not right. Any of us can find ourselves participating in something that would, almost seem exhilarating because it's wrong. Almost seem like it's right because we're pushing the envelope on something like that. We went through lots of those experiences as kids, pushing the boundaries.
Sure.
Don't have to explain them all, but I just said I'll go down the list for you. I mean, I think you had all sorts of things that pointed you to believe this, and I don't think it's the healthiest choice for your life. But here's the bottom line: you're my friend.
I love you.
I'm always going to love you. You'll
That's
always
right.
be my friend. I don't care
Yeah.
who you are or what you do and where you go. I'm always going to love you. And that, I think, is the kind of love that transcends. Jesus met the woman at the well. It took them a good 10, 15 minutes before he got to, that's right. That's not your husband that you're living with. That's the fifth. You've had 5 husbands, and this one's not yours.
Right.
How do you feel when you've got that lump in your throat? But when we say to people, that's right, you've been through hurt. You were rejected by your father. You were beaten up on the playground. You were cast aside for liking art and, theater.
Someone else's
whatever.
choice that they just decided, there's nothing, you weren't doing anything wrong. You weren't doing anything different at all,
No.
even maybe, but someone decided to throw tags at you that stuck.
Yeah.
People, they started saying you were this or you were that, and you can deny it all day, but if that kid has some power on the playground, then what he says goes, and people will join in many cases. There's always going to be those that don't, but you join in, you listen to him and you say, well, maybe. No, have some, that's where, and I understand that because you're in the developmental part of your life and you're not sure about this. You're not sure, especially in this world we live in that gives us the opportunity, and this is not a good thing, to see and hear all different kinds, especially when you're young and don't understand all the repercussions and all the, as you said, consequences. You hear all these things. You watch TV, you watch any number of things. My son loves this show, Rick and Morty. I don't know if you've heard of Rick and Morty, but man,
Yep.
There's so much innuendo in that show. It's because it's on Adult Swim. It's for adults. It's a cartoon for adults.
Yeah.
And my son, thankfully, I think it's pretty well grounded. And he just likes the humor of it. He thinks it's funny.
Well, the same age we had Beavis and Butthead on MTV, and all of that was, sexual innuendo. And, some of that, the age of innocence has been broken. And that's the hard part. And I struggle with this because I want kids to grow up with the ability to deal in the world. But I don't want to isolate them and put them in a bubble. But I'm more and more inclined to say, go for the bubble, because then you get to ingrain in them. But the problem is the bubble pops when it gets exposed to the reality of a world that they just, it is. Some of those things are funny, they're humorous, they're culturally inclined, they're hip. And, we sit here and go, I don't know if I should laugh at that or not because I can handle the nuance in that.
Right.
But, I don't want my kids to start engendering a life that says everything is okay. And truth be known, I have a different viewpoint from my 3 kids on sexuality. They're so immersed in it, and they have so many friends that are on many sides of the world on this, that they just think it's terrible that I can be such a hateful person. And I'm like, I'm not sure that they would put it that way because they know my heart, but at
That's
the same
right.
time, it grieves their heart that I'm not embracing the life. And the truth be known, I can't. It's not a question of love. I will always love, but it's not a world that I can embrace. You know, the only time I would embrace it is if I myself were trying to espouse it, and that's just not who I am. You know, and it's hard to define what it is anymore. It used to be gay or not gay. Now it's
Right.
like 57 different gender identifications that were listed or something in the Wall Street Journal.
Yeah.
A couple of years back. It's very difficult and confusing to wade into that, and it blows out of the water the whole argument that it's a choice. That it's not. I mean, that it's not a choice. It's not a choice. I was born this way. Well, no, you're choosing to become a man. You're choosing to become a woman. Tomorrow, you feel like you identify with something else. It's fluid, and so you no longer have the argument.
Learned.
Whether it's a choice or not. It's today. It's my truth. That's the bottom line. I'm going to live my truth. So what's your truth today? I'm going to be an axe murderer today. Is that okay? No, heck no, it's not okay. It never will be okay. But
when you get to court and the guy says, that's just how I identify, we've set ourselves up to say,
yeah, that's going to be a sticky wicket when we get there. And we're there, I'm sure. We haven't heard the cases yet, but I'm sure that that's going to happen.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. And, all I got to say to all of it is, remember that there are two forces, and one has been given the earth. The earth has been given to one, but because the authority is not given to him.
Yeah.
The authority over this world is not given to him. Dominion is. He can come and he can do as he pleases unless the authority is called on to back him off. And I've witnessed that personally, that works. When he's coming in and trying to make inroads, just calling in the authority, which is Jesus Christ, God, the Holy Spirit, Trinity, all in one. You call that authority in to stop him, and he gets.
And the thing we got to be careful in our public witness is that we don't call that authority in to demonize a person, but to recognize that a person has been dealing with a spirit that's influencing them. So when we say that the enemy, the devil, Beelzebub, all the names that have been spoken of God, or of not of God, sorry, of the evil one.
Yes.
That when we say that he's got dominion, he's got influence over the world.
I don't know if dominion was the right word for me to use.
Yeah, dominion's the right word.
Okay.
It's the biblical word. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when he's got dominion over it, I mean, I think some people, when they say he's got dominion, he's got control. He doesn't have control, but he's got influence and powerful influence. And when we're talking to people and we're saying, we're going to say no to this. The postman's trying to deliver something that is counter-cultural to a Christian worldview, counter-cultural to a good, solid moral basis for the world. And I'm just going to say no to it. I don't say no to you. I'm saying no to that spirit that's influencing you to make these choices.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean,
you got me on my bully pulpit. Sorry.
I know, buddy. We got to roll out anyway. We're done for the day. Hey, God bless you. I love you, Dan. Thanks a lot, man. And look at this, people. Look at this. I can say I love this man. That doesn't mean I'm in love with this man. It just means I love him.
I love you too.
Although I might be in love. I don't know if I'm just kidding. Anyway, all right, everybody. I just think this has been a good discussion, and I'm sure.
Hey, he's not giving us a spirit of fear, but of love and of power and of sound mind. And I think if we approach the world presenting that spirit where we've got a sound mind, we're willing to talk and listen, and we approach people of the world, whatever stripe they are, with love. We'll have a good witness to what should be. So,
Amen. Amen to that. Thank you, friend. We'll see you
Hey,
next week.
always good to see you. I'll be out of town next week, so I'll be
Okay.
around.
Okay.
So I'll catch
Good
up with
enough.
you the week after.
Sounds great. All
All
right,
right.
buddy. Thanks a
Take
lot.
care.
Bye.